of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's actually kind of quick. It can take your advice.
As I mentioned before, we have a quorum. We were concerned about having a quorum, so we were delaying starting the meeting in case people who are watching may have wondered what we were talking about. But anyway, we can now start the minutes. Is there any corrections or additions to the minutes of March 5th? You want to turn your mic on and say that again, please?
I move we present the minutes as, we approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Minutes are approved. First item on our agenda tonight is the Ardrossan Farms.
Kathy, I'm going to have to recuse myself for this in Drossett.
Okay. Thanks for visiting us, Charlie. All right, please, Mr. Snyder, go ahead.
Thank you. John Snyder from Saul Ewing. We're here for a lot line change plan. This would be the second time we've come in for a lot line change plan. We did in phase 4 earlier. There have been 2 properties that have been submitted for, in essence, reverse subdivisions to consolidate 2 lots. And the reason I put that up is to just bring you up to date on what's happened there and how that last lot line change plan worked. That lot line change plan was here in phase 4. And what we did was we created some larger lots and then some regular size lots with the hope of marketing the larger lots and have people want to see the smaller lots bought by Nault and be converted to open space. And as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, this one's also sold, 5 of the 6 large lots were sold. And as a part of that sale, donations were made and Nault bought 10 of the 12 smaller lots and has put deed restrictions on those lots so that they can now no longer be developed. So while they remain lots, they're lots that will never be built upon. So now you have those 10 orange lots that are owned by Nault. In phase 1, Nault also owns these 5 NRA parcels, which have been gifted to Nault by the partnerships that own them. And this area of open space down here has been deeded to Nault. Nault will eventually own most of the open space in the development. The reason why some of it hasn't been donated yet is because there would be improvements that would run through it and things like that, and Nault would rather have it in its final form when it develops. And then there's this one yellow parcel here, which if you remember in the initial subdivision plan, that was called lot 411, but it was noted in the notes on the plan that it wasn't really a lot. It was to be conveyed to the neighboring landowner, which is Dr. and Mrs. Purcell, who own the property just to the south of it. So that has now been sold to the Purcells. So that is another area that would then remain open. It was kind of like open space anyway. It was mostly slopes and stream valley. So we have 4 different areas that we're looking to revise lot lines on, and I'll take them one at a time. Over here, the person that bought this large lot, that large lot, if you notice this NRA that's beside it, that NRA continued behind that large lot and was bigger. That owner wants to buy that portion of what was in an NRA and make it a portion of their lot, so their lot is bigger. We have no problem with that. They now own both the NRA and the building lot, so they're just enlarging their building lot and decreasing the size of an NRA. Doesn't change the number of NRAs, doesn't change the number of building lots. It's just a lot line change. The second area is here, which is also in phase 4. Now, that right now has a bigger middle lot and two smaller size, two normal size side lots. We want to be able to market that in either 3 lots, like it was initially intended, or a large lot that would be bought the other way, and somebody would then either donate the lots or hold the lots or so forth, with just one house being built there. This is just to give us back the flexibility of doing it in 3 real normal size lots instead of one big one and 2 smaller ones. So we don't know which way that'll be sold. We won't record that. We won't deed those until we know. It just gives us the opportunity to market them either way. The third area is up in what is phase 2. In phase 2, lot 2-10 contained both Murray House and Ivy Cottage. That we want to be able to put Ivy Cottage on its own lot. That's one of the places where, and you'll see the 2 red hooks on there, that's where 2 lots were combined to 1. So not only do we have the 10 lots that won't be built on over in phase 4, we've got 2 places in phase 1 where the number of lots in phase 1 was then reduced from 16 to 14 by the combination of those lots. We would like to create that combined lot, or a separate lot for Ivy Cottage, out of a little piece of lot 2-11, and the rest of it would come out of 2-10, which would retain the Murray House on it. It would be a lot that is accessed off the cul-de-sac of Ivy Lane, but would have the existing residential structure on it. And then the last is an effort to try to convert at least a portion of phase 3 into the type of marketing that we're doing, that we did successfully in phase 4, where if you look on this portion of the property here, there were 5 lots in there and a couple of NRAs. By creating the same type of situation as we had, let's just use this one where we have 2-4, 2-5, and or 4-4, 4-5, and 4-6, where you had a big lot and then a couple of smaller lots on the side of it, where the only one that ever is now going to be built upon is the bigger one. We're trying to do that by creating 6 lots at the start of phase 3, where hopefully what we'll be able to market is this one and this one, like we marketed the lots in phase 4, and hopefully those buyers will either buy and keep the ones beside it, or buy and donate the ones beside it, or make donations so that they become like the orange lots in phase 4. In order to do that and make those lots a little larger, we needed to put some of what was the open space, the green behind those lots, into those lots. But down here, we have this piece that's a part of phase 3, and this piece, which we already own, is a part of phase 2. And the bottom portion of them are sensitive feature, Stream Valley, and so forth, which weren't open space before. And so we're converting that to open space to take care of the open space that has been lost. And in fact, we end up with very close to 2/10 of an acre more of open space this way, remembering that the required open space was about half of what we actually provided as open space. We had to provide somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 to 50 acres, and we provided somewhere in the neighborhood of 90. And so, once again, it's a little bit more open space. It gives us the chance to market again, to try to create fewer houses and more area that's owned by conservancies.
And when you refer to open space, is that including the conservancy lots? Or
No,
the
no,
open
no.
space from the initial development?
The green, the light green areas
Okay,
were open space. Now, this was open space that's now been transferred to the conservancy, but it's still open space.
right.
I'm talking
So you have
open
two types of
space.
open space, the conservancy open space and the other open space.
Well, I don't actually call them two different kinds. There's open space that's required. We proposed more in our special exception plans and provided more. And that's the number that we constantly have maintained. For example, when we did the lot line change plan on Phase 4, we changed around some places of open space with NRAs to make it all work, but there was no net loss of open space. We've always had the open space. And again, here we will have technically the same number of lots that were permitted before and approved before, but we know we'll also have 10 of them that will never be built. And hopefully by doing this, we'll have more of them that will never be built.
Yeah, that was a little unclear. I think you said up in that section, you're going from 5 to 6 lots.
Yes.
And then are you eliminating a lot down?
Well, there are 2 lots here, one here and one here.
Oh, so you're counting those consolidations in
Yes.
exchange?
Yes.
Okay, so now I follow you.
Yeah, so we will have the same number of approved lots. We already know that we'll have at least 10 less built-upon lots. And hopefully by this type of marketing, we'll have more than 10 less built-upon lots.
How many houses do you project to have built, including the ones, the existing, the original Ardrossan buildings?
Excluding them, because they're hard to.
Okay,
for
well,
me to
let's
figure.
exclude them and talk about new
Okay,
buildings.
there were 16 lots in Phase 1.
16 or 60?
There were 16.
Okay,
2 of them have now been consolidated to drop that number to 14. One of them is owned by the person that owns the neighboring lot and is not building on it. And there are 2 lots that are owned but for sale, for resale. So whether they go as 1 or 2. So it looks like at worst 13 houses in Phase 1. In Phase 4, there were 18 building lots. We will have either 6 or 8 houses in Phase 4, I meant, if I used the wrong number.
yeah, you said Phase 4.
Yeah. In Phase 3, there would have been 9, and we would end up with 10, but if we market it correctly, 4 of those 10 would go away, if our marketing efforts are correct, or work. And then that leaves Phase 2, which is the village. And the village has 15 building lots in it, which we would expect would be built. There are 2 lots that have the existing twins, the Murray House lot. There will now be the Ivy Cottage lot, and the garage for Murray House is a lot that would be residential.
What is the total number of houses that you had in the original development, new houses?
New houses.
I'm saying houses, assuming that
Yeah. there
I'm
were-
sorry?
It's between 60 and 65.
60 to 65?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So can you talk about the lot that you're creating? Is that a non-conforming lot with our codes because
No.
of the,
The, wa-
connection being not wide enough
which lot?
for the, I think you said the
Ivy
cottage?
Cottage, no, it conforms.
It does
Yeah.
conform?
Yeah, there
Okay.
are no
There's no
variances or waivers
nonconformity.
or anything
Okay.
like that requested here. And actually, the lot that is red up in the upper corner is a lot that was an NRA. It just becomes much more valuable to somebody that wants to buy, build on the middle one and dedicate it if it becomes a building lot instead of an NRA. So
Any-
that's what we're here for. We ask your recommendation. There are no new lots. Overall, there's slight positive in open space. And as you can see, the program that we've tried to put in from the start has actually gotten even better.
I just have one question on the NRA issue.
Yeah.
Does, when someone buys an NRA, you know, and so they have a bigger yard, does the NRA go away?
Well, that's only if they incorporate it in their lot. And that's what this over here is about. Since this NRA went across the back of that lot as well as beside it, they're taking the portion that was behind the lot and incorporating it into their lot. So the NRA becomes smaller, and therefore, yes, that part of it goes away as an NRA part.
So do we need to have any concern about the future and more housing because that happened?
No, I don't think so.
Is it because of the siting of the property? Is the reason?
They want to put a tennis court back
Okay.
there. They want a bigger lot so they can have more usable area for their own living space.
Out of curiosity, when an NRA lot joins an existing building lot, are they still required, as far as in your point of view, to build on the original lot?
Oh, yeah, the NRAs are NRA, meaning not residentially approved. There is no approval to be able to build on an NRA. You would have to come back in, get a new conditional use, a new subdivision plan approval that changes this to be able to do anything with an NRA other than hold it as investment.
Now, when you say hold it as an investment, you can't resell it for a building lot, or can you?
You can resell it. The person, whoever owns it, would be under those same requirements. It's not a building lot.
But they would have to come into,
It can't be a building lot until the township, it has gone through township approvals.
okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
If you have the lot lines that you're proposing approved, how long can you hold on to that before you have to record it?
To tell you the truth, I've seen plans recorded 20 years after they were approved.
You can get that lot line change.
Mark
So you're
it
gonna,
and see.
are you going to be looking to put them each individually, or how is that going to work? Because obviously the consolidation needs to go in with the,
We hope that all of this occurs within the next 6 to 9 months, this year. We hope that we can know what we're doing on each of those.
so you're
this year.
thinking they're all in the same time frame. So in the end, if you decide not to go with those three more evenly spaced lots,
We already.
but everything else
we would
goes
put-
through,
when
you would
we-
just come back
We
and,
would just come back and.
get it
and
different.
Get that deleted, because we already have the existing plan. If we sold it under the big middle one,
yeah, if you decide to
go.
go in that direction, you would just come back before you even record. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, to get
Okay.
it so that that area is removed from this plan, because it's already that way in the
Right.
recorded last lot line change plan.
So the way it is now, if we go forward and approve what you're proposing, those 2 phases are kind of connected to each other, the Phase 4 and the well, it's actually 1 and 3. Is it 1 and 3?
Well, 3 is the one at the top. This is 3, whoops, this is 3.
Yeah, 3, and then
4
4.
is down here, and 4, the only parts of 4 that aren't sold are these 3 lots and that NRA, which are just slightly different configured on the present plan, so that the
Right.
middle lot is bigger. And the NRA is smaller.
So the work that's being done in the upper right and the lower left corners of the plan really don't tie into one
These
another.
two, that's correct.
Right, but the other two pieces kind of,
They're the similar marketing issue.
and you're moving your open space into the,
Into a part that's, see, this is also Phase 3 down here. Believe it or not, Phase 3 is this plus
oh, so
this.
that whole thing could happen if nothing else, that, you could just have that happen and that would work out fine?
Yes.
Okay, so nothing else depends upon it?
No, because the only place that open space is coming from is the area up behind us. So it's all, that's its own separate thing.
Probably why you chose that location, okay, I'm catching on.
Yeah, well, for some reason, that bottom lot ended up having to be in Phase 3, the way we worked the plan with the phasing with the sellers, so we're now getting a benefit out of it.
Are there any additional questions or comments from the board?
I have a comment unrelated to this, so I can make it after we vote or whatever.
Okay. Any comments from staff on this? No? Okay. If not, is there a motion from the board?
I move we recommend the proposed lot line changes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you.
And your comment, please.
The only
Thank you.
thing, You're going to come before Shade Tree?
No, Roger and actually Steve sent something around that said that that was not required because there were no new improvements.
Okay, the only thing I noted on a site visit 2 weeks ago was in front of the mansion, there are some 5-foot trenches, and they went right up against a bunch of heritage trees that front the mansion and the driveway. And that's been backfilled now, but I would just say, like, make a note going ahead, we need to have shade tree protection whenever that kind of work's done. It's
Okay,
really important.
I will point out to our contractor that
I mean, these are the
obviously-
most spectacular trees on the property right now.
And there are a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item now on the agenda is Penn Medicine at Radnor. Hello.
How's everyone doing? Dave Falcone, Saul Ewing on behalf of the trustees. We're here on the property for 145 King of Prussia Road. We've obtained preliminary approval from the Board of Commissioners and have submitted our final approval plans. We have gotten review letters from your consultants dated March 26th and March 22nd. We are prepared to respond to that review letter as part of our final plan application. Mike Kissinger from Pannoni has prepared a response letter, which he's going to distribute now, or actually I'll distribute it and Mike can start talking. We'll walk through the comments, but for the most part, they are all will comply with the exception of one new waiver that we're requesting as a result of our meeting with the shade tree. But we believe that the waiver we are seeking is consistent with the change in the species designation that the township is proposing to bring to the Board of Commissioners as an amendment to their species list. So soon enough, it would not need a waiver, but as of right now, it does. And it was recommended by the shade tree.
Excuse me one sec, let me just ask the board. How would you like to go through this? If they will comply with all these items, the numerous items in this, do you want to just go to the ones where there's a problem with it? And not just
I think
stand there
I
and
just
read
heard
it?
that they're all will comply.
Yeah. But
So, maybe.
I might have a handful of ones that we should just touch on.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe Roger's also going to want to.
Okay.
Roger, do you have any particular ones that you want them to discuss? If you've already been,
I've had numerous discussions with the applicant's engineer, and I'm
so
good.
you don't want us to pull anything out and discuss it at length? Okay,
I don't, unless you feel you need to, no, I don't have anything.
okay, thanks.
Which letter would you like us to look at?
Well, if you actually follow along with mine, the one I just handed out, the draft
Okay.
letter, and like I said, there's less than a handful. So, and again, just things to make you guys aware. And there's only one, the question of the waiver that Dave mentioned before. So if you guys are okay, I'll lead through a couple comments, and then if I miss any that you guys have, then we can go back to them.
All right. Board, are you okay with that? Okay.
Yeah, and if there's anything you're looking for input on, just mention that as well.
Understood. Thank you. So number one, just right away, the sanitary sewer. So just to keep everyone aware, we did receive the conveyance and a capacity approval from Radnor Township. We also received the same approval from RHM and are making our way through Springfield and then back to the DEP. So it's still in progress, but moving along well, actually moving along pretty well.
Mr. Kissinger, if I could add, so the Planning Commission knows, in our letter approving conveyance in Radnor Township, there's actually a net decrease in flow from what the previous applicant and owner.
Yep.
Can I also mention to staff, if there's anything that we're going past that you want to jump in on, please just interrupt, so we don't have to go back over it again. We'll discuss it at that point. Is that okay with you? Okay.
That works.
Great. Thank you. All right,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
So the next one there is parking structures. So what this comment means is that when we did our designation for our parking stalls in our parking garage, we had 9 by 18 spaces shown, and the zoning requires 9 by 19. So we've made that change, and I'll point to it. It's going to be a little difficult there. If in this corner up here on the plan set, basically we show that the spaces are 19 feet along the angle. They're 9 feet wide. And based on some of the comments later, I'll cut to the chase, and it has an 18-foot drive aisle as well. So we have coordinated this plan specifically with your consultants. This was, obviously a zoning comment popping up there. But we are more than able to comply. It was just a change in literally line striping.
Do you have the same number of parking spots?
Slightly less, but we still have,
You're in compliance?
the site had a couple hundred extra, so we are well in excess.
All right. And the plans state the number of parking spots?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
This is the spot I think I should bring this up, and I'm wearing my EAC hat for a moment. Are you going to do any electric charging stations in your parking garage?
I'm actually not sure of that. I don't think it's in, I don't know if it's in the program or not.
And it's not exactly a planning thing, but on behalf of EAC, I recommend that you consider it.
We take it under advisement. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so now we get to skip a bunch. We talk about architectural, that talks about architectural for the hotel and office, which
What
is
page are you on?
top of page 2, number
Oh,
2.
we're still 2. I thought we were skipping a bunch. Okay, go ahead.
I tricked you. I said I was, and then I slowed down. The architectural there is really referring to the office and hotel, which, as you guys know, will be part of a future land development. So we go down to subdivision number 2, pretty close to the bottom. Talks about plan size in the waiver. That waiver was previously requested and I believe granted. Moving to page 3, number 6 on that page, talks about the tree species. So again, if I point to the plan, sorry to do this, on the right-hand side of the column, there are 3 species that are not in the township ordinance. And so what we've done is basically provided an alternate if the waiver wasn't to be granted. But however, we believe that the shade tree really liked the species lists, and so this is what we prefer to do.
We really, really liked it. It's really one of the better ones, better plans for shade trees I've seen.
So you're good with granting that
We're
waiver?
good with that.
And if I can add to that quickly, that in the past, when applicants have gone before Shade Tree and Shade Tree has recommended a different species of trees, we've deferred to Shade Tree on that and not overruled them with what's required in the code.
Okay.
And have they put something in the records for the Board of Commissioners with their recommendation, shade tree?
Just the minutes.
Okay.
What are the 3 species? What are the 3 new species? Out of curiosity.
It looks to be, I won't do it justice as an engineer, but it looks to be an exclamation plane tree, a white oak, and an American elm.
Yep.
Okay.
American elm.
Oh, I was supposed to read that. Sorry, Roger. Okay. Skipping down to page 7 now, so we'll catch up some ground there. The last comments in Roger's letter. Again, just informational. As you mentioned, number 1, we will provide the deed for the lot consolidation, and follow that through at time of recording. And number 3 also speaks to your comment about the parking stalls, the numbers of parking stalls. That has been clarified on the plans. So we'll go right into now the Gilmore letter, which starts at the bottom of page 7. First comment is the same about the parking stall width, which we've previously addressed. And number 2 to that, the comment gets cut off onto the next page. But basically, we will be preparing a final traffic impact study, and that traffic impact study was also presented to PennDOT already, and roadway plans have been completed and are sending to both the township and PennDOT as well. And if I go now to page 13, which is the Ray Daly memo. So both your engineers sent letters, and we also had one from staff from Ray Daly. And we went through that memo, and we actually met with township staff and the fire marshal, or the fire chief yesterday. So we met with township staff and the fire chief and went through these, and all of them are well complies. A couple of the fire hydrants moving around slightly, but overall, we're going to comply with all of the comments in that memo as well. And that's really it.
I'm amazed.
I assume you've been coordinating with the school district as well?
We have. So through the different process, we are going to continue that coordination as we go through construction and making sure they're aware of everything. But I guess we haven't met with them during the final plans, but during the preliminary plans we had, and I believe everything is still in the same realm as what we've dealt with before.
I actually have a question about the new deeds that you're preparing. Is that going to just be the 18 whatever acres? Are you including that little strip that was part of PennDOT's property that Biomed was originally including in their calculations?
So, what I'll tell you is, actually, if you look at the map here, the piece that this parcel already is one.
It's 18 something.
It essentially already is one big lot,
Yep.
except for right here, this corner of the parcel gets cut off, or it was cut off in the old deed. So we're really just adding that little piece.
So
to
that's what the
parcel.
new deed is, adding that back in?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Is that,
And that little piece was the old location of King of Prussia Road before the Blue Route, is what that was.
Oh,
is that something you had to acquire, or?
No, it's parcel A, parcel B. It's part
Oh,
of this-
okay.
It's really
It
part of
just
the
really
same
didn't need
parcel.
to be.
It's just consolidating it to get rid of that little line.
Another question I have, I'm looking at the old notes. on the subdivision, Roman numeral 6, B5. It says, provide plans for the timber bridge. Where is the timber bridge?
We have in our rain garden here, there's a meadow rain garden right here in the center of the parcel. We have a little aesthetic feature of
Oh,
a
okay.
timber bridge crossing it.
Yeah, I thought there was a bridge somewhere on the property that you would drive over.
No,
That was timber.
no,
That's why I was
no.
wondering. Okay.
It's a walking path.
So I was just wondering about access to the train station. The regional rail, you need to cross the street and walk along that path to get to the regional rail from your site. But the high-speed line, the Norristown high-speed line, you have direct pedestrian access?
Yes, so we have,
You guys have a sidewalk, don't you, running in the front of the property? That doesn't exist now?
yes, so just rebooting, so on the parcel, on our property, there are many ways to get to the high-speed line. You know.
But the
through-
regional
through-
rail, you would have to come out and cross the street?
No, we're adding a new sidewalk here.
Oh, there is, oh, the sidewalk continues? Okay,
So we're adding a sidewalk from the main entrance at Raider down through to connect to the existing sidewalk.
okay.
Any other questions from the board? Any comments from staff? Nope. Any public here? Nope. Well, this is a surprise. Is there a motion from the board? A motion. Recommend approval and grant the waivers that have been requested.
I move that we recommend approval and grant the waivers requested.
Conditioned upon compliance with the review letters by the township consultants and township fire marshal.
Yes. Okay. Is there a second?
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? You got it.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
You're welcome.
I would have lost the bet.
That took less time than our Drossel.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
that's for the record.
Is there any public here that would like to comment on something? Okay,
Public just left.
okay. Is there any old business? Any new business? No.
That being said.
In that case, the meeting is adjourned. At 7:40, I would add.
That's insane.
Am I in the right time?